Guys, it's Joel here from CheekySport, and I'm back doing one of these legendary chats. What's happening with? And this week I've got an Arsenal legend, an Ajax legend, and an Inter Milan legend. Yes, the Nigerian king. Someone who's given us the chance to work with him, and I've had the chance to travel with him and be around him and his family, and all-around great guy. I would like to present to you one of the best footballers that's ever graced the sport, one of the best African footballers the world has ever seen as well. The man himself, Mr. Nwankwo Kanu. How you doing?
I'm okay. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure. Thank you very much as well for giving us the time, King. Real quickly, for me, I know you talk about your career all the time, but what I like to focus on in these things is just the small in-between stories that I just find so interesting that I was asking you when we was in Nigeria. Sometimes I'll turn around and I'll look in the car and I'll ask some questions and sometimes it gives me these responses and I've got a straight face, but in my head I'm like, wow, this is crazy. So I just want to revisit some of them things because we know that the documentary is coming out soon and you've got the t-shirt, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kanu Heart Foundation, putting back smiles. If you guys don't know, Kanu owns a heart foundation, of course, because he's gone through stuff and he's been giving back ever since 2001, isn't it?
Yeah, 2000.
2000. So he's been doing this for 19 years now, and it's just amazing to see. So, okay, so you have a fantastic Olympics, right?
Yeah.
And this is even the first time when we saw Wenger a few months ago. He said that's where he first saw you. What happened after that tournament where all of a sudden, was you surprised at how you became the man? Can you explain what life was like? Can you bring us back to that?
Olympics is it's one of the best and everybody wants to be part of it. It's not only football, every other sports. But for African, we haven't won the Olympics before in football. So when we're heading to the tournament, it was like, are we going to add up numbers or are we going to win it? But the interesting thing then was like the giant, we call them the giant or the dream team, was Brazil. And we have Argentina, which is the favorite. But we are not even among those. But we have good team. We have good players who are strong, big leaders in the team. But at the end of the day, we find ourselves in the finals after beating Brazil. You can imagine beating the so-called giants, the best in the world, because they really have a good team. And then we now be in the finals. And in the finals, it was like for us, of course, we have won the medal, even if we lose the game, because we're beating Brazil. That's our goal. But at the end of the day, finally we won it. So everybody was like on top of the world. The name was like full. Everywhere you go, you have Kanu, there, Kanu, Kanu, Kanu. So it's like you have made it. And a lot of clubs keep coming, who wants to sign you.
Such as which clubs clubs were wanting to speak to you all of a sudden? What was going on?
Let me not say much about them. Let me keep their respect. But then Inter Milan saw what I did in the finals of the Champions League with Ajax. And they came for me before the Olympics. And I have to sign before even going to the Olympics.
Wow.
So when I went to the Olympics and I did what I did, it was like, okay.
Good signing.
The best, great, good signing, So even if anybody is coming, I think it's too late for them. They have to now pay off Inter Milan. I know the problem between what is going to cost. So for me, we had a good tournament. I was top of my game. And the peak, I was like, you have just arrived. So go and show the world what you can do. But going to Inter Milan after the Olympics, that is when everything started, or things started not going the way I wanted.
Before we go to that side, I still want to focus on some of the happier stuff. You played for Ajax, of course, and I remember being in the car with you and just looking at the pictures of the players. You know, the De Boers, the just big players. You know, can you explain to me obviously they were all very good players, but the top players that you found when you was playing in Ajax, and what was that like when you first played with them regularly? Who could you see was like, these guys are talented?
It was really good team. I can't really say one and leave the other because
a group. Give us a group.
Yeah, it was a group, but we are like every position was really good. The coach Wenger was really top because it was like, hey, nobody messes around with him. He's the boss. So everybody have to respect him and follow his instruction on what he wants. And really worked out because every of us was like, yes, you're a good player, but the coach tells you what to do, you have to do it. So if you're asking me who, I would say Rijkaard.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when Rijkaard came from AC Milan down to Ajax, it was like, who? Everybody was like, how? Oh, this is good. Oh, we can play with Rijkaard. Oh, I've been hearing about Rijkaard. Oh, this is you know, every player there was like, even if we are 90% good with Rijkaard, we are more than 100. It's like, okay, the team is not complete, so we can do things. And whenever I play with him, he always comes to me and said, you know, you're the best. I would look at myself and I said, ooh.
Wow.
Rijkaard can tell me I'm the best. So, and what he tells me is that whatever you do on the training ground, I want to see it in the game. Wow. So he's not the coach, but he's always telling me that. So when a game is going on, he will come to me and say, the best, show them what you can do. So with that, on top of the so if you ask me who, I will tell you Rijkaard. So it doesn't mean that the other players are not good. You
had Van der Sar, Overmars, Seedorf, Ed David, Ronald Power, Lippmann, Cliver,
Finidi George.
Finidi George.
That's what I'm saying. We have really good team. And the football we play was top. Whoever we're playing against, or anything we're playing against, you will see it. You will see that these are class. They can play football.
And you played against good players in that final as well. I mean, you had the likes of, I know Marcel Desailly played that game. I know you had, who else? You had, I think Baresi played as well, didn't he?
Yeah, Baresi played, yeah.
Baresi.
They had a good team. They had enough, the young ones coming up to play against the names you are calling up now. Is like, what's going to happen? This is a dream come true. We are playing against the mighty AC Milan. So what can you ask? That's the best.
Crazy. So, I mean, you've been surrounded with world-class, legendary footballing, status ever since. So you go to Inter Milan, first training session. Talk us through. What is that like when you step into training with these players?
Coming from Ajax, it's totally different. Culture, the players, the food they do eat, and the strengthening was like when I came in during the dinner. I saw the players, and then I saw red wine. So I was like, this is alcohol. Why should we take alcohol? As footballers, it was strange. It was like new to me. But it's not something strange to them. But during the training, when I saw the players, you can see Pois was there, Aaron was there, Ronaldo was there. So Simone was there. A lot of good big players was. I'm just coming in. I was like, this is the first time I'm mixing with all these.
Really?
So
were they better than the Ajax players? Because I know the players were younger at the time in Ajax. Would you say they were better than the Ajax team that you played with?
They're not better, but the level is different level from Ajax.
Okay.
Ajax is like you coming up, the young ones coming up.
Yeah.
But now, when you go to that level of Inter Milan, AC Milan, then it's like, they are seeing through. Because in Ajax, it's just young players who wants to make their mark and show what they got. But in this place, it's different. It's like everybody that is good, they have to buy them and then bring them together in this kind of clubs. So you being among them is different from what you're doing in Ajax. So you can be good and you're not in the best club. So for me, the move was like, yes, of course, I'm good. I have to go to the best club. And then being the champion of Olympics, of course, you have to be one of the best clubs.
And when I asked you a question, I was just asking loads of questions, as you guys can imagine. I was in the back, and I said to Kanu, I said, name me just the best player you've ever played with. And obviously, Kanu's played with a lot of players, but he answered quickly. He said, you tell them what you said. You said there's only one. You didn't even think. It was straight away, Can you tell him what you said?
Ronaldo de Lima.
Man, when you said that, I had shivers. And what was it? Because he was very young at the time. He must have been like 19, something like that. What is it that you're seeing when you're in training with this guy and you're just thinking, what is going on?
I can't describe it, but whoever I've been or I've trained with him, we tell you the same. It's different. It's from another planet. His football is something that every young kid would like to be like him. He got everything. He scores with the head. He can shoot. He can dribble. He got the skill. He scored goals like fun. During training, even if you are playing against him, the defenders have to be like 3 or 4 of them have to really try to stop him. And if it's one-on-one, forget it. Whoever the defender is, one-on-one is gone. It's gone. It's like a bullet. It moves.
Wow. And that meant that the levels had to remain high, because you're playing with someone like him. It can only make you better.
That's the way it is. But the good thing is with him is that he's cool-headed. He tried to learn from others as well. So when I play with him, he tried to learn from what I'm doing as well. So I'm learning from him, he's learning from me. So like what you say, when you play with good players, you get more better.
That's brilliant to hear. So I'm not going to touch on this too much because we've got a documentary coming out. But during this period, obviously you get the bad news in regards to the heart situation. Would you say that you knew from there that you were going to do more stuff for foundations in the future? Was that where the idea came from after you had heard bad news in regards to your heart at Inter Milan?
Yeah, I would say yes, because my focus on what I do is to play football. It's just sports related. But when that happens, of course, you now know what you went through, you understand, and you can feel for others. Until that's where all this stuff started.
And also, we've spoken about this. We've got this in videos where Arsene Wenger, talks about signing you. Can you explain the joy when you first came to North London? How did you find it?
It's different because in Italy is different ball game. The way they play their football is totally different from when I came new, what I saw. But it was easy for me to adjust because I have a lot of good people around, and the coach was wonderful. So for me, it was not really difficult to adapt and get used to the English football. But it was really tough, knowing that it's a different style of football compared to what you have seen. But football helped me a lot. So when I came to Arsenal, Arsenal wanted us to play good football. And when you talk about good football, you talk about Ajax. So for me, it was much easy. But the friends around, Overmars was there, Patrick was there, Tony Adams. Everybody wanted me to do well, including the coach. So immediately I'm in, it was like a family, so it was not difficult.
Did you speak to Dennis Bergkamp beforehand, before coming?
No, I spoke with Overmars and Patrick.
Okay. And they gave some good feedback. I mean, when you see how loved you are by the Arsenal fans, till today, that must touch your heart differently, no?
Yes, and that's why I'm still a fan of Arsenal. So I do support the club.
Yeah.
I was really, the atmosphere was different. The way they do support was different. And you haven't seen that anywhere except in England. So, so it was like, yeah, but you have to do well. If you don't do well, then it's the opposite. So, so you have to really work hard. But if they do love you, they love you. So, and I gave them the love back.
Yeah. And when I spoke to Sol Campbell last week, he told me how hard it was to defend against you guys. He said, Will Tord, Kanu, Henri, Bergkamp, he said, all different strikers, but dangerous in their own way. Do you see what I mean? So my chance now to give a return. When you're playing against defenders like Sol Campbell, how tough was it?
You know, he's a big man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you play against the big man, you know what you're going to face. But like he really said, when you see strikers like that, and they're on top of their game, and they bring different style and different techniques, different skills, it's always difficult for defenders to match up and stop them. But it's good because if we are really good, what So just said, we keep them, we make them stronger, we make them to think more, because when we play against any team, then the best strikers they're going to meet as well. So if they can stop us, or if they can even do well against us, of course we can do well against any team. So that was the idea when we play against them. And I know Arsene used to make us play games for the defenders to feel what we can do and then find a way to stop us. And if they can, why not? And we all have that belief that our defenders are very, very good, because if they play against should I say the best, or players like that, of course, it's going to help them to come up and then do well in games for us.
With all respect to opposing teams that you played, did you find sometimes, though, that training was sometimes harder than a match because of the quality? I mean, the Perez, Henri, Campbell, Ashley Cole, David Seaman. Did you sometimes just think, whew, I'm prepared now for the game because training was so hard?
Everybody that plays for Arsenal, not me alone. You can hear what So just said. If you talk to Henry tomorrow, or Beckham, or Whitford, or whoever, when we train, and it's like a game.
Wow.
Nobody wants to lose.
Really?
It's like
competitive.
It's a proper training, proper game. Because we have this in us, we don't want to lose. Nobody wants to lose. So the spirit is like, you don't lose in the training and you don't lose in the game.
Wow.
So when we train, you give all. It's like fight. I don't want to lose to Henry. If he's playing against me, he doesn't want to lose to me. So the competition is still there. Everybody wants to play in the proper game, but you have to do well in the training. And when we train, the defenders like So and the rest, Kolo, Tony, nobody wants to lose. So if you have that attitude in the training, then you bring it to the game. Yeah. So like what you just rightly say now, yes, everybody is a winner. Everybody wants to win, not only in the game, also in the training. So the training is very, very hard. Whenever we play 11v11 or 7v7 or whatever it is, ask anybody in the team, you will feel it. After the training, you go back, that,
really? Yeah, wow. And it's funny because when you're naming all these players, yes, Patrick Vieira was the captain and we loved him and we praised him, but you've got some big personalities there, you know, very big personalities, you know.
You
How
know
do you
what?
manage
The good thing is that Patrick is the captain, but we have captains everywhere.
everywhere? Everywhere.
You have leaders everywhere, and that's why I always tell the young ones in a team. You have to have leaders. You have to have not only one captain. You have to have a lot of captains. And in Arsenal, it's not only Patrick that leads. Everybody that wants to win. Everybody. If we are losing, then you see somebody. It's not even Patrick. You see somebody from somewhere coming to you and start. So you are put on your toes every time. The pressure is there. Nobody wants to say I'm the one that everybody has to blame.
And still sticking on Arsenal very quickly, describe to me the genius of Arsene Wenger, the coach.
When he gave me a call, when he was, they were looking for me, the way he talk, only the way he talk, you know already that you're in a safe hand. But coming to him to play for him, whoever comes to him to play for him will tell you the same thing. He got this soft touch. The way he talks to you, the way he encourages you, it's not only about football. You know, it's more than football. So if you have somebody who does that, of course, football is business. People will come to you to tell you, do this and do that. But there's more than football. And that's where Arsene comes in. He brings you in, he talks to you, and he helps you to develop because he knows you're coming from maybe somewhere different from here. So you make sure that he gives you the time. He makes sure it's not somebody that wants to rush you and get the best out of you immediately. But he knows with time you will be the best. So anybody that goes through him, we know that he's not going to rush you to start performing magic overnight, but still the magic is going to come. So he's somebody that every player would like to play. And let me let you know this. When you play and you lose him, he doesn't come to the dressing room and start shouting.
Really?
That's something different. But the way he will talk, every player will know that we lose him. We have to go and change the whole stuff.
Wow, that's very unique. That's very interesting. And I know he thinks very highly of you. I've had the chance to hear him directly tell me what he thinks of you, and I couldn't believe it, you know, and he's done some wonderful things for you. He doesn't make any appearances for anyone, but he came out for you, and I saw that you saw him at the FIFA, but is it FIFA Awards a year and a half ago, something like that?
The African Football of the Year Award.
Yeah, so that was amazing as well. Very quickly, I want to go on to West Brom. How did you find? I mean, you played quite a lot of games as well at West Brom. How unique is their fan base? Is the question about the West Bromwich Albion fans.
Of course, every team got their own fans, supporters. And in West Brom, of course, we played. I really enjoyed my time with the team and the fans as well. I know the fans really enjoyed my time over there. I left for the other club.
Yeah, and then you went to Portsmouth and you won the FA Cup, man. That was, it wasn't expected, but with the likes of yourself and Sol again in the team, you guys did something remarkable then, man. With a very good coach, Mr. Harry Redknapp,
Yeah, Portsmouth was something different. But it was like when you do believe in your players, like Harry is somebody that even if you are not good, he will make you good. And the way he will make you good is just very simple words. When he says you know who you are, he will make you become the best. And the way he will do it is just simple words. And when he talks to you, and after talking to you, then you give him everything that he wants. And he's somebody that believes in his players and trusts his players. So whatever you're telling him, or he will say to you no, because he knows them and he knows they're going to do well for him. So he went and then got all the players wherever and then put them together, and that's how we have a good team.
That was fantastic. It's good to hear, and I know that he knows how to treat the senior players like senior players. That's the vibe that I got from him. I mean, did he expect you to manage the dressing room more than him, or how did that dynamic work?
No, he's the one. He's the boss. He keeps the rules, and then we follow. He makes the rules and we follow. But the good thing is, like you just said, he knows how to manage players. He knows how to manage the old ones, and he knows how to treat the young ones. Mm-hmm. And when you talk with the old one, the respect is there, and the old ones gives him what he wants. So vice versa, everything works well.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Listen, besides that, I just wanted to say, keep up the good work with the Kanu Heart Foundation. I know that people don't know, but you do massive work to the point where you're in the country, often to help out. You've got your offices over there. You've got a team that's involved on a daily basis. Do you have any stats for us at the moment, how we're doing with the foundation?
Yeah, the foundation, 2020 will make it 20 years. But due to what is going on now, everything is locked down. But I can rightly say that we have operated 570 less privileged people with heart problems. Mm-hmm. And we have up to 200 on the waiting list. Mm-hmm. But this time, we only sitting back and praying because health-wise, having issue with the heart is not something that somebody have to stay at home without going to hospital and doing what they have to do. And in the same way, you don't want to get the virus because it's going to be very, very dangerous. So we're only praying because if you know the foundation, we do take the patients out of the country. So as it is now, everything is locked down. We're just praying that they don't die and they still be alive for us to continue from where we stop.
No, that's good, and I'm looking forward to the release. So you let us know when you're ready. But besides that, thank you very much for all the work you do. Just to add, it's not just the heart. It's not just the surgeries that you do. You actually also look after the patients afterwards. So you guys, it's absolutely amazing. I keep saying it. I know I've said it a million times, but I've seen it. I've seen it for my own eyes. It's not nothing that's fake or you think, oh yeah, where's the money? No, I've been in the office. I've seen how it runs. I've seen everything.
That's what the foundation stands for.
Yeah.
When we call the numbers, we show you what it is, and we give you the names and everything. So, like you just said, it's not only operating them. You have to make sure that the medicine, the rehabilitation, all those stuff, you have to be with them and support them and help them. It's not a foundation that only operate and then let them go. So we try to make it like a family, that we make sure that everybody is okay.
Thank you very much, Kanu, the Nigerian legend. I hope that you have a great day. Lots of love to the family. And I'm coming over for dinner once this is all finished. Have a good one.
You're welcome. Be safe. Take care. Bye.